Good morning from Bobblehead Homestead. I am Jeff. Today is Thursday. It is way too early for me to be on camera, but I'm doing it anyway. It says it's 42 degrees right now. The high should be 51, and we are expected to get drizzle all day long. A lot of rain yesterday, but not a lot of rain. As far as, I don't know how many inches. I don't have a proper rain gauge. But I noticed the seasonal creeks around me are still dry. So that means we did not get a torrential downpour. And can you hear that? Can you hear that? Enough about the weather. What is all this chirping going on in the background? That's the reason why I had to get up early this morning. Let's have a look here. You want to be a YouTube star today? Yeah. You're only a few days old and you're already going to be a YouTube star. Alright. Enough baby chick talking. Let me take care of them and I'll be back in a minute. More than 50 baby chicks. I think I counted 53. I only counted once though. I'll count them again here when I put leg bands on them in the next couple weeks. Yeah, that's a lot of baby chicks. I was actually hoping for 80, but I'll get into that in a minute. Those are Welsummers. Those are all purebred Welsummer baby chicks. They are from Deer Run Farm. I will put a link down below in the description to Deer Run Farm. They are in Maryland. This is the original line of Welsummers that was brought from Europe. The Welsummers they're named after a town in the Netherlands, Welsum. That's where they originated, in Welsum in the Netherlands. And they were brought to the U.S. by the predecessor to this farm. Whitmore Farms, I think, was the original name of the farm, and then their stock was acquired by Deer Run Farm, and they're taking it on. Deer Run Farm is a very, very great farm to deal with. And yeah, I got all these baby chicks. I got hatching eggs from them back in, what was it, May, and a lot of those were cracked. So I only got a handful of Welsummers that hatched in that batch. And so they sent replacements because they're a great farm to deal with. And I tried to incubate those, but mobile home had electrical problems, and I think that's what caused a bad hatch rate. Only one Welsummer egg hatched in that batch. So that was part of the avalanche of disaster, not getting anything from that hatch. So luckily they fit me in with their last hatch of the year, and I had wanted 80. I had actually wanted 100, but I had wanted 80, and they so I'm very, very happy with more than 50. Okay, let me take a break and then I'll talk about why I got 50, more than 50, and I wanted 100 of them. Why did I want 100 of them? Look at this clip.
The most common question is, how many chicks should I start out with? How many day-old baby chicks should I start with? And let me take a deep breath. I'm getting ready to tell you. You want to start with, now before you write me off, okay, you want to start with 100 baby chicks. Now let me explain before you get too carried away and say, oh, my yard's not big enough, or I've never done 100 baby chicks. Let me walk you through this process. So
that is Jim Adkins from the Sustainable Poultry Network, and I'll put a link in the description to their YouTube channel and to this specific video. This video is titled Jim Adkins Poultry Breeding 101 Overview. And how long is it? It's a quick 14 minutes and 46 seconds. I have watched hours and hours and hours and hours of seminars from Jim Adkins, and I found those at Living Web Farms. I'll put a link down below to Living Web Farms, And they used to have a playlist. I couldn't find it, but if you type Poultry in the search bar at their channel, you will find their seminars. Hours and hours and hours with Jim Adkins, with Harvey Ussery, who wrote one of my favorite chicken books, Small Flock Chicken, Small Poultry. I can't remember the title of the book, but Harvey Ussery is great. Jim Adkins is very great. And I was watching all these before I got this property. I have been researching the chicken industry for probably 5 or 6 years now, and researching chicken breeding methods. And so Jim Adkins has been a huge source of information for me. I wish I put out more content on chickens like this. But yeah, what he's describing is, if you're going to start breeding a specific breed, he's giving you a few of the methods you can use to get the best chickens of that breed that you can possibly get. And he suggests starting out with 100 baby chicks. And you'll have to watch the video to watch the rest of that. But you're basically, selecting the cream of the crop, the best rooster out of, if you start with 100, you're 50-50. You're going to have 50 roosters to choose that one best rooster. And that's a much better odds than starting out with 4 roosters and picking the best out of 4. So picking the best out of 50 that can really jumpstart your program, just by having that many to select from. Same with the hens. The hens are just as important as the roosters in a breeding program. So you can choose that best rooster, maybe your best 4 or 5 hens, and there you go. Those are your main breeders. Now the rest of them, he suggests, it's one name for it is called clan breeding, and you create 3 different families. And what you can do is rotate the roosters around each year, and that will help maintain your line. That's not going to improve your line a whole lot, but it's going to maintain it. And then you use the cream of the crop, that one best rooster and those 4 or 5 best hens. You use those to replenish your clan breeding, and so that's one of the methods that he has taught me. Another method is what's called line breeding, and that is when you take the son or the daughter and breed it back to the mother or father, and the granddaughter, grandson back to the grandmother. And because you've got, let's say it's a rooster, you have a prime rooster, perfect, and what you're trying to do basically is clone that rooster without all the science stuff, just with selective breeding. So that's why you would choose a rooster and then bring his daughters and granddaughters and great granddaughters back to him, is to keep his standards of perfection in your line. Same goes with if you've got a champion hen that is just remarkable, you might want to breed her son and grandson and great grandson back to her, and maintain her genetics in your pool. So yeah, I can probably talk for almost as many hours as the seminars that I've watched over the years researching chicken breeding methods and the chicken business. So yeah, I'm starting off with 50, and that's what I could get. They fit me in with their last batch of the year, and I'm so happy for that. I am going to go ahead and order for next spring also. They are opening up their ordering for next spring on November 1st and 2nd. So here in a few days, you can start ordering from Deer Run Farm for their next season. And I am telling you, if you want some chickens from Deer Run Farm, get your orders in. If this year is anything like last year, they're going to be sold out fast, very fast. Deer Run Farm they're known for their Welsummers. They also have other breeds. They have the black, blue splash copper Marans, and I did get a few of those from Deer Run Farms. They also have Americanas, actual Americanas, not the Easter egger version, the actual Americanas, and I believe they have the blue, black, and splash variety feather coloring of the Americanas. What else do they have? They have Delawares, and those were the meat birds before the Cornish cross was developed through selective breeding. So Delawares they're making a little bit of a comeback, and it's good to see Deer Run Farms breeding them. What else do they have? They have their own line of olive eggers that they just started out, and yeah, I think that's it. These are Welsummer eggs, medium brown, and with some big, nice speckles on them. That is one of the things they are known for, and one of the reasons why they are sought after. So those I'm hatching, they're in with the white and true blue, so these are going to be olive eggers. So I've had Welsummers. My very first rooster I got was a Welsummer, and Bob, don't mess around with these eggs. And then I got a flock of Welsummers from somebody here in Arkansas. You know, Bob, get out. He'll be back up here in a minute. I got a flock. So I had one Welsummer, and he passed away, Walter. I got a flock with 2 roosters and about 9 hens that I got here in Arkansas, and I bred those. So I got that's how I got Wild Berry. Out in the country, different. Brought me Wild Berry. So he was from a different family, and I put him into the mix. And so right now I only have one Welsummer rooster, which is Dragonberry, Wild Berry's son, and then I have 2 Welsummer hens. So I can't really do much breeding with them. The Welsummers I've had did not meet the standards of perfection, and that's because it was a small sample size. There weren't very many for me to choose from. And when I talk about the standards of perfection, you're looking at the biggest one is probably their size, and my Welsummers were small. They just did not meet the standards as far as size goes. And then the shape of the body, the angle of the tail, the size of their comb, the size of their wattles, there's a lot, the coloring, and there's so many standards of perfection. Well, why are the standards of perfection, why is one Welsummer different than other Welsummer? And yeah, legitimate questions. Well, the standards of perfection were created so that we can pass along these genetics to future generations. Think about like a German Shepherd dog. What if we kept crossbreeding German Shepherds with other breeds, and the German Shepherd just went away? There were no more purebred German Shepherds anymore. It's the same concept with chickens, is we're trying to preserve that breed in as close to its original form as we can. And so, these standards of perfection were developed in Europe, going back to the late 1800s. And so we know what those chickens look like and their size, and we know all that information from the late 1800s, and we're trying to keep them to those standards of what they were back then. And so that's why the standards of perfection matters to some people. It doesn't matter to everybody. Some people just give me some eggs and I'm happy with my chickens, and that is perfectly wonderful. To each their own, live and let live, all that stuff. But we're kind of in a supply and demand world, and there is a demand out there for chickens that do represent the historical nature of that breed. And so that's what I'm going to be trying to do with these Welsummers, is maintain that breed for future generations, and to try to keep them as close to those standards from way back in history as I can. Now I can also use the Welsummers to create olive eggers, hopefully with some speckles on them. I'm getting 50 now. I'm going to try to get another 50 in the spring. I'll be ordering November 1st and 2nd. another batch, and then the genetics can vary greatly in chickens. From the same parents, I see it all the time. From the same parents, you can get a vastly different genetics in the offspring, and that holds true with probably any type of breeding out there. I'm often reminded of the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, and Arnold got all the good genetics, and Danny DeVito got all the not so good genetics. It can be like that with chickens also. You can get a wide variety of sizes, for instance. So what you want to do is selective breeding, and you pick the best ones and you breed those, and the other ones you don't use for your breeding program. Maybe you use them for your maintenance, you use them for olive eggers, stuff like that. So that's why I'm starting off with 50 now, and would hopefully like to get another 50 so I can find the cream of the crop, and that can push me ahead years at maintaining the Welsummers to their standards of perfection. All right, have I bored you all yet? A few of you out there might appreciate this. Somebody years from now might appreciate this. I don't know. All right, time for another segment. Let me take a break. Can you tell I'm really excited? And yeah, I'm probably gonna. This might be an hour-long ramble, and I hope some of you future chicken breeders of the world might appreciate some of this information. I have been wanting to do this for a long time, at least a year. I wanted to do this. Starting out with 100 baby chicks. That's not the only way to start out. Another way to start out is by, instead of buying baby chicks, get a breeding trio, a breeding quad, and what that is somebody else has already hatched 100 baby chicks, raised them, and selected the cream of the crop, and they are selling you the cream of the crop rooster and their cream of the crop 2 or 3 or 4 hens along with that. That is also a good way to start. That kind of saves you the trouble if you've got the trust in the breeder, and the breeder has the reputation, all that stuff. Now, a breeding trio, those can go for $500 for 3 chickens. $800 for a quad, and it's just there is a demand for that. The demand isn't huge. It's like Ferraris. There's not everybody out there is gonna go shopping and buying a Ferrari, but there is a demand for it. It's smaller than a Honda Accord, the market for a Honda Accord, but there is a demand for it. And so those breeding quads and trios, there's a demand for those, and that's why they sell for so much money. Now, that's not something I'm going to get into big time, but I will. You don't need to keep doing 100 baby chicks all the time. You just want to replenish your stock and keep your line going. So you don't always want to do that, but you could do that and go for those breeding trios, find the cream of the crop and make those available, and that can be lucrative also. That's years down the road for me. But yeah, I do wish I had done this a couple of years ago instead of going the route that I took. But it's a big investment, and now I have the confidence. I mostly have the confidence. I could still use some help on selecting that cream of the crop. I've read the standards, but there's not a lot of video out there, and you like to see the birds in 3D. Even better than that is I would like to see some up close and to hold them, and that will help boost my confidence. So that's something I'm working on behind the scenes. See if I can find other incredible Welsummer lines out there, so that maybe I can, be educated and maybe even find a mentor as far as that goes. But I'm confident enough in my abilities to go ahead and get the baby chicks now, and I'll cross those bridges when I get there. What else can I ramble about? Another source of information if you want to get into chicken breeding is Kenny Troiano. He does a podcast, and then he just puts the podcast on YouTube. I will put a link down below to Kenny Troiano and everybody else in the description. But he does share his podcasts on YouTube. There's video on some of them, but mostly it's just the podcast variety. And he doesn't go into great depth, but he provides a lot of useful little nuggets. Where he does go into great depth is he has a Chicken Breeders Academy membership program where you can interact, and yeah, that's the whole thing. I am not a member of his Chicken Breeders Academy. Maybe someday. He talks and specializes more in the game fowl and that side of the chicken, which are they're known for their for the fighting, but that's those are more original to the wild chickens that we've tamed. And so he's not into the whole chicken fighting thing, and most people who breed the game fowl are not into that whole chicken fighting thing. They are into preserving preserving that more wild strain for our future generations. So okay, that's probably enough rambling for today. Can I think of anything else chicken related? I'm excited. I've got 50 some Welsummer baby chicks. I'm going to find the cream of the crop on those, get my own line started, and yeah, cool. Big things, new chapter of my life, all that good stuff. Thanks to you. Thanks for watching. Take her easy, everybody.